For the last few years, using powerful AI has meant one thing: renting someone else's supercomputer. Your words get sent to a giant data center, the AI thinks up there, and the answer comes back. You pay per request forever. Your data leaves your machine, and if their servers go down, so do you. This month, that quietly changed. Meta released a model powerful enough to act as an autonomous agent that runs entirely on a single graphics card, the kind that might already be in your gaming PC. No cloud, no API bill, no internet required. This is a genuinely big deal, and not just technically. It shifts who's in control. So let's break down how you shrink a giant AI onto one GPU and why it matters. First, why has this been so hard? Why do we need the cloud at all? An AI model is basically a gigantic pile of numbers, its parameters. The knowledge lives in them. This model has 30 billion of them, and that is actually considered small these days. Here's the catch. To run a model, you have to load all of those numbers into memory, into your GPU's VRAM. At full precision, 30 billion parameters need over 55 gigabytes. A high-end consumer graphics card holds around 24. So the model is more than double what your hardware can hold. It just doesn't fit. That's why powerful AI lived in the cloud. Only data centers had GPUs big enough. So the whole trick becomes, how do you make a giant model small enough to fit without making it dumb? Trick 1: quantization. This is the big one, and the idea is simple. Every one of those billions of parameters is a number. Normally it's stored with a lot of decimal precision, very exact, very heavy. Quantization asks, do we really need all those decimals? And mostly the answer is no. So you round every number down to a much simpler version. Do that to all 30 billion parameters, squeezing each one down to about 4 bits, and the model shrinks from 55 gigabytes to under 20. Suddenly, it fits. Think of it like a JPEG. You compress a photo, the file gets far smaller, and honestly, you can barely tell the difference. Same here. You lose a sliver of precision and gain the ability to run it on hardware you already own. But hold on. How is a small model even smart enough to be worth running? That's trick 2: distillation. You start with a giant frontier model, the cloud scale 1, as a teacher. Then you take your small model, the student, and instead of training it on raw internet text the slow way, you train it to imitate the teacher. The student watches how the big model responds and learns to copy its behavior. It's an apprentice shadowing a master. The apprentice will never be as capable, it's a fraction of the size, but it can absorb a shocking amount of that skill into a much smaller package. This model was distilled exactly that way from Meta's own big closed model. So, distillation makes a small model smart. Quantization makes it fit. Together, they put a genuinely capable agent on your desk. Okay, so what? Why care that it runs locally? 4 real reasons. 1. Privacy. Your data never leaves your machine. For a hospital, a law firm, anyone with sensitive data, that isn't a nice-to-have. It's the whole ballgame. The AI comes to your data instead of your data going to a stranger's server. 2. Cost. No more paying per request forever. For an always-on agent doing thousands of tasks a day, that per token bill just vanishes. 3. It works offline. No internet, someone else's outage. Doesn't matter, it's yours. And 4. Control. Nobody rate limits you. Nobody changes the model underneath you. Nobody can switch it off. Remember when a model got pulled offline overnight? That can't happen to a model living on your own drive. Now the honest part, because local isn't magic. The absolute smartest models still live in the cloud. They're bigger than anything that fits on your desk, and for the hardest problems, the cloud still wins. Local models are the right size for a huge range of everyday tasks, They are not the frontier of raw intelligence, and you have to manage it yourself. Set up, updates your own hardware. So it's a trade, a little less peak power in exchange for privacy, cost, and control. But zoom out and the strategy is the real story. When a giant company gives away, for free, the exact thing its rivals sell by the token, that isn't charity. Analysts read it as a move to commoditize the model layer and squeeze competitors whose whole business is renting out cloud access. Either way, the winner is you. So, capable AI just escaped the cloud. Quantization shrinks the model by rounding its numbers. Distillation keeps it smart by learning from a giant. And what you get is an AI agent running on the computer in front of you, private, cheap, offline capable, and genuinely yours. The cloud isn't going anywhere for the biggest models, but for a huge slice of real work, you no longer need it. That's a real shift in power from a handful of data centers back toward everyone else. If you want to understand what's actually inside the models you can now run yourself, start with my How LLMs Work video. Subscribe for AI explained visually, and tell me in the comments, what would you build if the AI ran entirely on your own machine?